Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Ashtottara Satashi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sridhar Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Kangamai Ki Jai Jamanamai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gauratam Vande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for joining us for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Friday, October 28th, 2022 in New York, and we are reading in the third canto, Chapter 9, Brahma's Prayers for Creative Energy. We are up tonight to starting with text number 18. So we're very eager to hear your questions and comments. And if you'd like to lead the closing kirtan, please let us know. And please share the link to these classes with your friends. I'll be posting links later, as I usually do. And we're so happy you could join us tonight, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Andrew Prabhu. Thank you to all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yasmad pipemyahamapi triparartha dishnyam adhyasita sakala loka namaskritam yat te tapo bahushavo varurut samanas tasmai namo bhagavate dhimakaya tubhyam. Your Lordship, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are indefatigable time and the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Although I am situated in an abode which will continue to exist for a time duration of 2 pararthas, although I am the leader of all other planets in the universe, And although I have undergone many, many years of penance for self-realization, still I offer my respects unto you. Purport. Brahma is the greatest personality in the universe because he has the longest duration of life. He is the most respectable personality because of his penance, influence, prestige, etc. And still, he has to offer his respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Therefore, it is incumbent upon all others who are far, far below the standard of Brahma to do as he did and offer respects as a matter of duty. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lolita Sri Vishakhan Vitanscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Prihe Mansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yasmad Bibhemya Hamapi Triparartha Nishnam Adhyasita Sakala Loka Namaskritam Yat Te Petapo Bahushavo Varurut Samanas Tasmai Namo Bhagavate Adikmakaya Tubhyam. The Brahma offers his homage to the personality of Godhead. Yasmad Bibhemyam Api Dviparartha Dishyam, who exists in the form of time, of which I'm afraid, Bibhemi. Dviparartha Dishyam. Dviparartha, Parartha is half the life of Brahma. So 2 Pararthas is 4,300,000 times 1,000 times 2, 12 times 12 times 30 times 100 solar years. So I get to keep my post for that long, but still time is going to vanquish me. So I'm fearful of time. Adhyasita sakala loka namaskritam yat. I'm situated in a high post. I get to stay here for so long. And Adhyasita sakala loka namaskritam yat. All the other planetary rulers offer their respects to me. And te pe tapa buhusava avararut samana. To obtain you, I underwent many, many years of penance. But tasmai namo bhagavate adhimakaya tu yam. Still, I offer my respects unto you, the Oktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwan. You're the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices. You're the supreme ruler of all the worlds. You're the supreme enjoyer. So I offer my respects unto you. Any questions or comments? Okay. Yes, Sakendra Prabhu.
Oh, thank you, Maharaj. I was reading a little bit ahead in this canto, where we get into more detailed discussion of the measurements and nature of time. And right along with what you're discussing, this passage came up in one of Prabhupada's purports, talking about the violent devastations of the universe. And Prabhupada says towards the end of one of these purports that people forget all these devastations of the worlds and think themselves happy in the material progress of civilization. This is called Maya, or that which is not. I was thinking about that in the context of we're hearing these prayers of Lord Brahma, the greatest, most powerful, wisest person in the universe, and he's making elaborate prayers to the Lord before doing his appointed duty. And I was contemplating how incumbent it is on those of us less than Brahma to do the same, to follow his example. Most of my life I've spent thinking, well, I can do pretty much what I want, I can just do it. I don't have to pray to do it. I can just do it. But Brahma is setting the example that if whatever you want to do, it requires the acknowledgement of who's really in control, and of course the irony that Brahma lives longer than anyone, and he's afraid of time, and most people on this level of existence have, let alone have no concept of time. They're not afraid of it at all. They're just doing what they think they want to do. It's like Prabhupada says, this is called Maya, or that which is not, in case you might want to comment.
Yes, these things are there, that we're, first of all, disconnected from blessings and higher authority. I remember I interviewed one devotee who was involved in the Delhi construction. And he was the son of a very big industrialist. His father owned the Sylvania light bulb franchise for all of India, apart from other projects. And he was telling how he did this, and he himself, the devotee. And then he, earned his MBA and this and that. He said, and then I got permission from my father to start my own business. So, in America, what is this permission from my father? It's like, what is that about? We just do things, as you said. But in more advanced cultures, we understand that for the success of any undertaking, we need the blessings of our superiors, or we should seek the blessings of our superiors. And finally, it goes all the way up to the top, to the supreme superior, the personality of Godhead. Even Brahma is not willing to undertake creation as an independent project, but he wants to satisfy the Lord by his activities. There's also, because you were saying, we don't consider devastation in time. but there's this bracket of this demographic bracket of the elderly who either consciously or unconsciously may be very much aware of time and afraid. My cousin who recently died was a very brainy sort of person and used to argue on philosophy and so on. But in his last days, I asked him, I was on the phone with him, how are you feeling? He said, I'm afraid. He knew he was dying, so I'm afraid. He didn't know what was next. So that fear is there. In Ecclesiastes, it talks about old age and says one starts up at the sound of a bird. Everything is like, is it coming to kill me? Or could I fall? Could I be, attacked this way or attacked that way? So there's this underlying fear of death that we all have, and we're sometimes unconscious of it, and sometimes we're conscious of it, but for the most part, we don't know what to do. Bibemi, we're also afraid, but the person who has no shelter, who thinks that his life is everything, that how fearful he must be. And thank you for bringing up that quote. Saraswati says, we tend to blame Maya for our fall down, but we are the ones that sold ourselves to her in the first place. We cannot even conceive how much the Lord wants us to go back to him and how much help he's ready to give. I don't deserve his mercy, and yet without his mercy, I cannot return to the position as servitor. Yes. Thank you.
Maharaj, there's another comment from Panchatattva Prabhu. Maybe you can't see it. I think he may have sent it to me only, but I think he meant to send it to everyone. So I'll share it with his. Yes. So he says, my father suffered greatly before he died. My mother mysteriously said, there is another world here, before she passed.
Another world here, yeah. Thank you.
There's another thing, Maharaj, that I was noticing in Srila Vishwanath's commentary, which for this verse, he goes on in quite some way, giving some subtext to Brahma's sentiments in presenting this. And he says, this is Brahma thinking, or he says, I was thinking that I could bring time under control by sacrifice to you, who are the controller of all sacrifices. But I am controlled by time, and even now I fear time. So that the whole purport is like the subtext of Lord Brahma.
Ayur Harati Vaipum Sam, earlier in the canto, the time steals away the life of everyone except one who's engaged in Uttama Shloka Vartaya, in hearing and chanting about Krishna. Shall we move on? Tiran manusha vibudhadi shujiva yonishvat mechchayat makrita setu paripsayaya reme nirasta vishayopya varudha dehas tasmai namo bhagavate purushottamaya. O my Lord, by your own will, You appear in the various species of living entities, among animals lower than human beings, as well as among the demigods, to perform your transcendental pastimes. You are not affected by material contamination. You come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion. And therefore, O Supreme Personality, I offer my obeisances unto you for manifesting such different forms. Purport. The Lord's incarnations in different species of life are all transcendental. He appears as a human being in his incarnations of Krishna, Ram, etc. But he's not a human being. Anyone who mistakes him for an ordinary human being is certainly not very intelligent, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, avajananti mam murta manushim tanamashritam. The same principle is applicable when he appears as the hog or fish incarnations. They are transcendental forms of the Lord and are manifested under certain necessities of his own pleasure pastimes. Such manifestations of the transcendental forms of the Lord are accepted by him mostly to enliven his devotees. All his incarnations are manifested whenever there's a need to deliver his devotees and maintain his own principles. There's an argument here that Srila Prabhupada gives that as Krishna is not an ordinary human being, so the other incarnations, the hog or the fish, are certainly transcendental. They're not ordinary hog, an ordinary hog, or an ordinary fish. I think we could take that argument and sort of turn it around, that we can understand that the fish can't just be an ordinary fish, it must be a transcendental manifestation of Godhead. Otherwise, what would be the point? The hog can't be an ordinary hog, he must be a manifestation of Godhead. So similarly, taking the same logic, we can think that Krishna can't be an ordinary human being. He must be Godhead appearing in human society for the benefit of human beings. Tiryak manusha vibhutadishu jiva yonishu. You appear among the lower species of life in human society, amongst the demigods. Atma ichchaya, by your own will. Atma maya srijamyaham. Atma maya, what is that? Yes. Atma maya srijamyaham. Atma krita setu paripsaya. And I come to comply with self-created obligations. Atma krita setu. Just to follow the principles that I myself have declared. The Lord is Swarat, independent, but he appears, when he comes, he follows the rules and regulations of the Vedic injunctions and so on, just to set the example. Mama Vartmanu Vartante Manusha Partas Sarvasha. Ya Reme Nirasta Vishaya, unaffected by material contamination. This is Purushottam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Vishwanath comments on this verse, there are there's really a lot. So I thought we could look through that. See if I'm going to read it from the very top. Why not? Having offered respects to the Lord as the universal form and as the controller of time, Brahma now offers respects to the Lord as highest object of worship, for the form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Appearing by his will in the forms of animals, men, and devatas, with a desire to protect paripsaya, the principles he has established, the Lord enjoys even though he has no desire for material happiness, since he is self-satisfied. Now there's going to be a discussion here about the Lord's enjoyment. Re me, Prabhupada gives it differently. I don't have it right in front of me. But re me means he enjoys. So he has no desire for material happiness. He's self-satisfied. And yet he comes to enjoy. The rule he establishes is patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prichtati tadaham bhaktupadatam ashnami prayatatmanam. I accept that which is offered with love from the genuine devotee who has a pure body and mind and who gives just a leaf, flower, fruit, or water. To fulfill this promise, so paripsaya, his self-created obligation, atmakritam, to fulfill this promise, the Lord comes into the material world and enjoys the garlands, fragrances, flowers, and beds offered by his devotees. Naham atmanam ashase madbhaktai sadhubir vina shriyam chatyantikim brahman yesham gatir aham para. O Brahmana, I am the sole shelter of my devotees. Without them, I do not desire to enjoy my own bliss and my 6 great qualities. Bhagavatam, 9th Canto. Thus, though he is self-satisfied, he's not really satisfied. Even though the items such as garlands are material, when they are utilized for the Lord, at that moment they become spiritual. This is explained in the 11th Canto. Now we're going to have a discussion of avaruddha deha. One really has to know a little bit of Sanskrit grammar, more than I do, to fully appreciate this. But let's move ahead. Avaruddha deha means uncovered body, a body of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. According to the grammarian Paguri, avaruddha can stand for ava and aruddha, which means unrestricted. Atmakrita setu parishaya can also mean with a complete pati, desire, in response to the devotee's desire to restrict himself to one form, because he's controlled by the devotee's body, the devotee's desire. He has a restricted body, avaruddha deha, because he's bound by Mother Yashoda with ropes and by other devotees by the taste of their affection. So it appears that this avaruddha deha can be read 2 ways. One, that he's completely unrestricted. He's the form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, uncovered by anything else. And the other way is that he's restricted. He agrees to be restricted in response to the love of his devotees. Purushottamaya means unto Krishna, who is superior to the Purusha avatars who create the Mahatattva. He's superior because of his superior qualities. Purusha Uttama, he's superior to the Purushas. Uttama means the supreme. So Purusha means person, or Purusha means the Purusha avatars. The Gita also says, Yasmat ksharamati aksharad apichottama atosmi loke vedecha pratita purushottama. Because I'm superior to the jivas, to the Brahma, and to the Purusha known as Paramatma, and even to the other forms of Bhagavan, I am celebrated in the Vedas and the Smritis as the Supreme Person. This is really a wonderful reading. That there are two kinds of living beings, Kshara and Akshara, fallible and infallible. In the material world, everyone's infallible. Everyone is fallible. In the spiritual world, everyone is infallible. Yasmat ksharam atitoham. Atita means transcendental, beyond. I'm beyond the kshara and the akshara. I'm beyond the fallible and the infallible. Atosmi, and therefore loke in the world or in the Smritis, Smriti Shastras, Vedecha, and in the Vedas, Patita, I'm celebrated as Purushottam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this Atita is given by Vishwanath as I'm transcendental to the jivas, they're fallible. I'm transcendental to the Brahman, which is infallible. I'm even transcendental to the other forms of Bhagavan. I'm transcendental to the Purusha avatars. And therefore, I'm the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, let's see what we have here. Saraswati says, I know someone who would buy all current magazines of celebrities, find out who did what and what they liked, did, etc. But when I talk about how Krishna's pastimes are transcendental and beyond time and alone worthy to hear, she's not interested. I cannot understand why she cannot understand the difference. Well, this is the power of Maya. Prabhupada called this, was it systematic unwillingness? I think that was the term. Systematic unwillingness to hear about Krishna. They're vimukha cetasa. They've turned away from Krishna, not only casually, but vehemently. We don't want anything to do with Krishna. We don't want anything to do with Krishna. We don't want to hear about Krishna. We have these sort of experiences in the material world where there's some disagreement. Sometimes there's disagreement between husband and wife, and it ends in a bitter divorce. And later, I don't want to hear anything about whoever the spouse was. Systematically unmindful. We don't want to hear about nothing good can be said about him or her. So there's this systematic unmindfulness, or even systematic unwillingness to hear about Krishna. Elsewhere, Srila Prabhupada says it's because of their stubborn obstinacy and their past sinful activities. the person who has a background of sinful activities will find it difficult to hear about Krishna, to take interest in Krishna. But the fortunate person or the pious person will be interested. Chatur vida bhajante ma jana supritanarjana. Kendra Prabhu has a comment.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. I was pondering this statement of Lord Brahma to Krishna, that you come just to fulfill the obligations of your own principles of religion, and how Srila Vishwanath took that to be an extension of the word Reme. He comes because he has a desire to fulfill his own promise. And I was thinking how that contrasts with our general experience of conditioned souls. They promise that they do something, but when they actually have to fulfill that promise, it's just like, really? Do I have to? Do I really have to do it? I promised that I was a different person then when I made that promise. But Krishna he derives pleasure in fulfilling his promises. And it reminded me, there's some performance artist in Switzerland made a plaque, and he put it on a train platform somewhere in Zurich. And he said, and he gave his name, I will stand on this plaque at such and such date 20 years from now, and I will stand there for 2 hours. And he did it, actually. He showed up there and he stood there for 2 hours. And, I can imagine he got some kind of, sense gratification from doing what he said he would do. But Krishna is to that in the ultimate degree, that he's the only one who can do what he says that he's going to do. He's the only one that can, vinashaya tradushkritam and paritranaya the sadhunam. So he must derive great pleasure just from fulfilling his own promises.
Achyuta, he's infallible in carrying out his promises, or in his obligation, feeling of love and obligation to his devotee. He's dependable in that way. Prabhupada sometimes said the living entity is dependent, and Krishna is dependable. So even in nectar devotion, that's one of Krishna's qualities. He's dependable. Even the demons could depend on Krishna's religious principles. So yes, he fulfills his promises, and he enjoys fulfilling his promises to his devotees. I imagine, you started a sentence in this movement with "I imagine," but maybe I'll revise that. But Krishna, the supreme enjoyer, he keeps intact the promises of Brahma, and I would, in a clever way. So he, without imagination, we could say he deserves to be pleased with himself, because he pulled off such a neat trick, killing Hiranyakashipu, and still keeping in place all the promises given by Brahma. So he kept Brahma's word intact. He kept his own word intact. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya tritushkritam. So he deserves to be pleased with himself. Reme, he enjoys. He's the supreme enjoyer. He enjoys fighting. He enjoys keeping Brahma's word intact. Later, he enjoys chastising Brahma for giving such promises, making life difficult. So these things are all there. Thank you. Some other points, questions, comments? Yasmat ksharamati doham akshavad abhichoktam. Okay, let's see. We have one more verse, perhaps. Yo vidyayanupato pi dashartha vritya Nidram uvaha chatari kritaloka yatra antarjalehi kashipu sparshanukulam Pimor mimalini janasya sukham vervinvan. My Lord, you accept the pleasure of sleeping in the water of devastation, where there are violent waves, and you enjoy pleasure on the bed of snakes, showing the happiness of your sleep to intelligent persons. At that time, all the universal planets are stationed within your abdomen. Purport: persons who cannot think of anything beyond the limit of their own power are like frogs in a well who cannot imagine the length and breadth of the great Pacific Ocean. Such people take it as legendary when they hear that the Supreme Lord is lying on his bed within the great ocean of the universe. They're surprised that one could lie down within water and sleep very happily. But a little intelligence can mitigate this foolish astonishment. There are many living entities within the bed of the ocean who also enjoy the material bodily activities of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. If such insignificant living entities can enjoy life within the water, why can't the Supreme Lord, who is all-powerful, sleep on the cool body of a serpent and enjoy in the turmoil of violent ocean waves? The distinction of the Lord is that his activities are all transcendental, and he is able to do anything and everything without being deterred by limitations of time and space. He can enjoy his transcendental happiness regardless of material considerations. So Srila Prabhupada picks this up, that people who are materialistic can't appreciate this is all mythology, this is all legendary. How could the idea that God could somehow be in the midst of waters of devastation, lying on a snake? But here, Srila Prabhupada, what's the problem? As he famously said, what is the difficulty? Even we see that in some places like Honolulu, people enjoy, they wait for these enormous waves to come, and then they enjoy riding on the violent waves. And they're just tiny little living beings. They finally get wiped out by the waves of time. But the Lord enjoys. He's lying in the midst of all the waters of devastation and enjoying. Yes, this is nice. Why does it have to be always placid waters? We'll enjoy the waters of devastation. And he enjoys lying on this dead of Anantashesh. Yo vidyayanu dasharta vritya nidram uvaha chaturi. And he enjoys sleeping. This is our sleeping is nescience. Our sleeping is a sort of escape from conscious life and a necessary and necessary downtime. We can't really work during the day unless we've had enough sleep at night. But the Lord enjoys his sleeping is transcendental enjoyment. Nidram uva chaturi kritaloka yatra antarjale kashipu sparshanukulam. Bhimor mimalini, the necklace of violent waves, Janasya Sukham, he enjoys in that environment. Ahikashipu, on the question of Anantashesh. See if there's anything else here. Vishwanath makes the point, Brahma's talking about how he was afraid time is going to wipe him out after 2 pararjas. But the Lord is sleeping happily on the serpent bed. No question of time or circumstances. He's infallible and beyond anything that time or nature can do. Saraswati says, I was asked why would he lie down in snakes, which are considered envious and spiteful species of life. Well, Anantashesh is not envious nor spiteful. The service is being offered, so the Lord accepts it, and it's very comfortable. Actually, you think that to lie down on a snake would be ghastly, but for the Lord, this is transcendental enjoyment. The Anantashesh provides an umbrella in the form of his hoods. He provides a bed and pillows in the form of his body. He provides the slippers for the Lord, the sacred thread for the Lord. He's a manifestation of Balaram, and he provides everything for the happiness of the Lord. So, and we can even say just to, well, we won't say that. Let me think about that a second. Yeah, why does the Lord have to act conventionally? Now people want to enjoy by doing something unconventional, maybe by tattooing their foreheads, or by having their hair, just a Mohican kind of haircut, or threading their eyebrows, or doing something else unconventional, and they enjoy that way. Why do I have to follow the rest of you? I can do something on my own terms. I can live on my own terms and do something that the rest of you people just aren't going to do. So the Lord is the original unconventional person. Why do I have to sleep on a bed in a quiet room somewhere? I can sleep on a snake in the midst of the waters of devastation. And take that. What would they say? Put that in your pipe and smoke it. That this is Krishna's unconventional nature. Rabin says, walking on ropes, we see here, it's the sort of the latest gimmick at Govardhan, that as you're walking along the parikrama path, there's some young children who set up like an elevated rope and do a balancing act on the rope, and people throw some money. So yes, Murari says it's not very politically correct to be enjoying when people are suffering. People expect God to be concerned and working to fix things, not relaxed and enjoying. This is an envious mentality, isn't it? That while we're in prison, these government people are enjoying. They're having nice dinners and so many other things. They don't care about us. They stick us here to make us suffer. Well, you robbed the bank. And yes, even the government is concerned. They hold studies how to rectify the prisoners, how to do things for their upliftment. But it's not that they have to obsess over these things, that the poor prisoners are suffering, so we can't enjoy. So the Lord, he's concerned on the one side. He goes to enormous lengths to recover the conditioned souls. And at the same time, he's nirastakuhakam. He's tamnas vena sada nirastakuhakam. He has his own existence. His nature is to enjoy. Rasovaisa. He's the supreme enjoyer. So why should you be envious? That why should Krishna enjoy when we're suffering? Krishna's inviting you. Come on, you join in the enjoyment. Why rot in the material world? I'm enjoying. Come and share in the enjoyment. But no, we'll bitch about it. That why should the Lord enjoy? Why should God enjoy when I'm suffering? This again is causeless unwillingness, causeness, stubborn obstinacy, and a background of sinful life. Everything's a reason to criticize this supposed God. Anything but surrender. But when we surrender, Mayam etam tarantite, then Krishna says very quickly, you'll get free from material nature. What is that? Tesham aham samudharta mrityu samsara sagarat apavami na chirat parta maya veshita chetasa. For those who are always thinking of me, I quickly deliver them from the ocean of birth and death. So that should be our willingness. All right, accept the invitation instead of complaining that they're enjoying and they didn't invite me. The invitation is there, just accept it. Just accept it. Maybe there's an invitation, there's a dress code, you have to dress this way and then come. No, why do I have to dress that way? Why do you just surrender and enjoy? Kendra says, is there a recommended antidote for the frog in the well mentality? Those of us schooled in contemporary educational systems sometimes have some difficulty shaking all the disinformation off. Yeah, the antidote is Srimad Bhagavatam. The antidote is Srimad Bhagavatam by hearing systematically. What is that? Pridyantastoya Badrani Vidhunoti Suritsatam. Krishna will act as our well-wishing friend and dissipate all this disinformation. In the Dhruva Charitra and the activities of Dhruva Maharaj, he was fighting with the yakshas and they were playing their illusory tricks, dumping pus and blood and stones and from the sky and huge tumultuous waves and so many things. So it appeared that Dhruva was overwhelmed. But then he shot an arrow which Srila Prabhupada identified with the Mahamantra, and all the illusions staged by the yakshas disappeared. They had no real existence. So by hearing, by chanting of Bhagavatam and the holy name, Enecha Shodhi Maya Nashi Viravagi, systematic submissive oral reception, Panchatattva says. Yes. Kirtan?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajukacharya Stotaristashri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jayādvaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Mukund Radha Kundi Ki Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadip Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Panchatattva Prabhu, and thank you to all the devotees.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for being here. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jayādvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, everyone's good.